Welcome, everyone, to Administrator Issues and Updates on January 13th, 2026. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Welcome back, Commissioners. Commissioner West is out of the office today. He is doing county business in Washington, D.C. Roll call. Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you, Gary. Would you introduce our first agenda item for us?
Yes, thank you. We have a long list today to catch you up from the time that you are on your well-deserved recess. The first item today is Recovery Campus Update and a thank you letter to Governor Kotek. As you know, Commissioners, on Thursday last week, Governor Kotek extended the Oregon State of Emergency on unsheltered homelessness, this time sharpening a focus on mental health and addictions going forward. Because of your tireless advocacy for the past several months, Governor Kotek, as part of her emergency declaration, is awarding $10 million directly to Clackamas County for our Recovery Campus effort. You may recall, we've talked to you about the finances of the Recovery Campus last year, and we were concerned with finances and only felt we could move forward with phase one. Thank you to this incredible contribution from the governor. We can now do the full project and move forward. These funds were allocated to the governor's discretion how to spend through legislative action in prior sessions, so she has the full discretion to award this. She doesn't need legislative approval, so the money is on its way. I know individually you all contacted the governor last week, and thank you for doing that. She was very grateful for all 5 of you reaching out to her to thank her. Today we'd like to offer a recommended letter of thank you to the governor, a formal thank you. There's a draft letter in your packet. Would like your feedback if you accept this draft or if there's any changes you'd like to make, and then I would suggest all 5 of you sign the letter.
Right, colleagues, questions?
No questions, just a comment.
Okay.
This was a really bit of great news at the beginning of the year, and as you know, we struggled with this financing discussion in December and November and prior. I just want to again say thank you to the governor, and I'm thrilled to see our gap close as much as it did in just a matter of moments. So thank you. And I want to say thank you especially to Paul and to Ben for taking Governor Kotek aside at the Stabilization Center opening. And I think that 5 minutes of her time made a big difference. So thank you.
Go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. She shared that in our communication on Friday, that she remembered. She made a point. She remembered that, when Ben and I talked to her, and I also want to thank Ben for listening to me the night before that, hey, let's do this, and we just took advantage of that opportunity. So it pays to show up, and I also want to thank the governor for not only showing up at the Stabilization Center, but also the Clackamas Village, our shelter earlier in the year. So those have been opportunities to interface with the governor, and I'm not sure she was fully aware of that $10 million commitment in the first place when we met at the Stabilization Center, so I think that's what got her attention. So thank you, Governor Brown and your staff.
Governor Kotek.
Whoops.
Yeah, whoops. Had a relationship with both. Yeah.
And I'm on board with a thank you letter.
Would seek a motion when you're ready, please.
So moved.
Martha had a
I will second, but I just want to echo what all of you had said. This has been a huge deal for us, and that 10 million will push us over the top of once again being the innovative county that is rocking and rolling it. We do mighty things in this county, and this is one of them, and we should be so proud of it. But anyway, second. Okay.
Thank you. So I'm sorry, I missed who made the motion.
Did you want to say?
Okay, Paul made the motion, and it was seconded by Commissioner Schrader. So Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the thank you letter to Governor Kotek as drafted. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. And the only further discussion, I might just make a comment, and that is to my fellow colleagues that want to thank each and every one of them for all their hard work on this. I know that all of us came together on a strategic plan, and we identified that this was a top priority for the county, all of us. And I continue to see each commissioner in their own individual way work to rally support for this, and it wouldn't happen if we weren't working collectively as a great team. So I want to thank each and every one of you, and particularly the governor for believing in us. And to me, it's really exciting, some of the next step in recovery and support. So very excited. And lastly, a big shout out to Ben, who's not here, who has also been working incredibly hard on this. So Ben, you're gone, and I know you're working hard, and just thank you for your hard work. So with that, if there's no further discussion, I'll ask for a poll.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye,
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
and thank you.
Chair, one comment I want to make going forward is that, I'm confident staff are doing everything they've said. I don't have any question about that, but we know there's been a couple, a person or two that are concerned about the surrounding neighborhood in the area, and I've attended, a couple meetings out at that place, but I think that it would behoove us not, all five of us, and I will ask Ben too as well, to engage with some of the community meetings our staff are putting on and make sure that the community is aware that we take that seriously. We leverage the Veterans Village experience and that we're to be good neighbors, all of that to make sure that, again, that facility is ran well and is not having any negative impacts. Ideally, it has positive impacts on the community. So just want to put out there my commitment and just ask all five of us to be as engaged as possible.
Yeah, sounds
Agreed.
great. Thank you, Paul. Gary, what's
Great, we will do that. So on the letter, all five of you will sign this, and Commissioner West gave me permission to add his signature, even though he's not here to approve the letter. So we'll do that and get that out the door. Thank you. Next is Community Mental Health Program and Plan Submission Update. This is the famous CFAA that you've been talking about for months. The formal title is Approval of an Intergovernmental Grant Agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for the Community Mental Health Program Funds and approval to submit the 2026-2027 Community Mental Health Program Local Plan. Agreement value is $18,108,772.52 for 18 months. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority and $60,000 of budgeted county general funds. Mary Rumbaugh, Director of Health, Housing, and Human Services, will present. Go ahead.
Well, good morning, Chair Roberts and Commissioners. I am very pleased, actually, to be in front of you this morning to discuss the County Financial Assistance Agreement that supports the community mental health programming that is coordinated by the Behavioral Health Division. Because I am here today, it means that we successfully negotiated this agreement between the counties, Oregon Health Authority, and the Department of Justice prior to the end of 2025. While it is not a perfect agreement, we were able to have critical language added that protects Clackamas County as we serve some of the most vulnerable individuals in our community. And while we know that it does not fully fund all the requirements in the agreement, language was successfully added to ensure that we are only responsible for providing funding or providing services with the funding available, even if it means we cannot fully fund the service priorities as identified by OHA. This was a game changer, really, for us. So in addition to the financial agreement, also in your board packet is the final draft version of the Behavioral Health Local Plan, which is a requirement of the financial agreement that a local plan is done, and we have paused on submitting that. We're really proud of the plan. We believe that it actually works toward providing the services to the priority populations as identified by OHA, but also ensures that we've taken the community voice around the needs of what we've identified and have done a nice job of threading that needle. So at the point that this goes before you for your consent and you guys approve and it's signed by Chair Roberts, then we would be looking for, the next direction to submit the plan to the Oregon Health Authority and expect that approval of that plan would be pretty prompt. So really appreciate all of your advocacy and support as we've navigated this the last couple of months. I've been in front of you many, many times and would welcome any questions that you have.
Any questions? Go ahead, Diane.
No questions, just a comment. Mary, I know there was a lot of back and forth on this, and you were involved in many, many very in-depth meetings, and I want to thank you for your advice, your suggestions, and your powering forward with this to get this resolved. And I know it was not an easy thing to do.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Thank you.
Martha?
Yes, I just also wanted to thank you, Mary, because I know you've had a real leadership position in moving this forward, and it was a very difficult conversation on more than one occasions. I know because the counties actually, I would say all 36 counties were quite concerned about how this was moving forward and how it was being managed. And it took a lot of your time and energy. And I also know you were in a position of leadership in the organization, which was also an added, I don't want to say burden, but, weight that you had to carry. So I just want to recognize that we're totally aware of it. And we're so glad it's finally
Yes.
settled. Thank
Agreed.
you.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Savis?
Yeah, I just want to echo, kudos to yourself, Mary, and staff, and everyone else that worked on this. And I also want to just point out again, this is an example of collaboration with AOC and the power of the 36 counties sticking together and working together. And this ought to serve as an example going forward of why we should, again, collaborate as much as possible. So great teamwork. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. I probably echo a lot of what my colleagues up here have said. And just want to say, as Martha said, there were 36 counties that were all not wanting to sign this for, a variety of reasons. But I think what was really exciting to see, really, Mary, in your role, Gina Nichols with AOC, really taking a leadership and ensuring that kind of people came together, continue to stay at the table to resolve this. I want to thank County Council Billy Williams and his staff that worked incredibly hard on this as well to get all the attorneys within the state of Oregon, which I think that's a big task, to come to an agreement that this is in the best interest of everybody. So I just have to say, there's so much behind the scenes hard work that most people don't recognize. And I know there were a lot of subgroup meetings that you were a part of, and we just kind of kept our eye on the goalpost, and that was, hey, we're going to come together and solve this. And so with that, I couldn't be more excited. I know it was my Christmas present because we were down to the wire, and this meant an impact to people and services. So fantastic job. So according to the information I have from Gary, this will be on our January 15th business meeting agenda for final approval. And with that, we'll go ahead and move forward.
Yep, great.
Thank
you.
Thank you, everyone.
Mary. Next, Carver Boat Ramp Naming, the boat launch. You discussed this last year, and staff has done what you've asked. We have biographical information on Mr. Bob Toman and further information from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife. And you're talking about the county naming policy later this afternoon, but Dan has a little twist to this, which I think is appropriate to bring up with you today first this morning. With that, Dan Johnson, Director of Transportation and Development.
Thank you so much. In the interest of keeping things rocking and rolling still, we are here to present to you some new information regarding the renaming request for Carver Hangar. If you recall, this request came back in 2023. We ran it through a process. That process got delayed with some interest in revisiting the renaming facility policy. We brought the discussion back to you in December. During that time, the board had a couple of questions the staff was unable to answer. In response to those questions, you'll see in your materials, attachment A, we received a letter. Staff received this letter with clarification from Riz Bradshaw, retired Clackamas County Sheriff. And in all honesty, this request shed a lot of light on the initial request. This is not a request to rename the boat launch. This is essentially a request to do a commemorative stone. And based off the information we received from Mr. Bradshaw, don't believe it has any applicability to the naming policies, facility naming policies you'll be discussing later today. There is a summary of the information that we received from Mr. Bradshaw. I can affirm to you that we continue to have support from the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, who owns but have conveyed the right to the placement of this commemorative plaque to the county. And so you'll see there are three options there for consideration. Staff is recommending approval option 1, which is approving the request to place a stone commemoration with a plaque honoring Bob Toman near the Carver boat launch, and direct staff to coordinate with interested parties to locate the commemoration in a manner that does not impact operations of the launch. I also can highlight to you and inform you that per the information we received, there will be no cost to the county for this action. They will be seeking either private funds or funding through the state. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
No questions, go ahead.
Well, thanks for all the hard work. That's a game changer. That really changes the whole thing, obviously. So I'm on board, no pun intended. I move for option 1.
And I will second that.
All right. Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the request to place a stone commemorative with a plaque honoring Bob Tolman near the Carver Boat launch and direct staff to coordinate with interested parties to locate the commemorative in a feasible manner that does not impact operations of the launch. It has been seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Is there any further discussion?
Chair, if I can just make a comment, I want to just say that I really appreciate the letter from Mr. Bradshaw.
Yeah.
It really, when you read about what Bob Toman did over the course, and I almost wish some of that information could go on the plaque as well, but I don't know, maybe we can put a QR code or something on it to, I don't know. He was really a hero for the Clackamas River, and I really appreciate that letter. It does help. It gives us a whole new perspective on what he did, so.
Great. Thank you. With that, we'll call the poll.
Oh,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
One more comment. I do notice that he was a Vietnam veteran and had, I'm trying to find it in the letter.
2 bronze and 2
Two
purple
bronze
hearts,
and a
yeah.
Purple Heart. It'd be great if somehow we could incorporate
Yeah.
that, because that's also honoring
Veterans.
our veterans. So,
Right.
anyway.
And also just a shout out to former Sheriff Riz Bradshaw
Oh,
for
yeah, he's a great
his
guy.
tenacity in staying on this for a long time. So
He's
thank
still-
you.
He's still out there every salmon run, I know, on the river.
So thanks for your hard work in moving this forward for us, Riz. So again, with that, I'll turn to our clerk, and would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Right. Congratulations. And Gary, what's next?
Great, thank you. Next, Parks Advisory Committee Liaison Selection. Dan will also present this. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you so much. Back in December, we shared with you in a policy session over the next year, Clackamas County Parks. Want to make sure we're clear here. These are our rural parks, not North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. Is looking to develop looking to update our county park system plan to help guide decision-making and planning over the next 10 years for parks operations, service level, maintenance, capital improvements, portfolio management, and community engagement. The planning process will be guided by the Parks Advisory Committee and a Technical Advisory Committee with input from the Parks Advisory Board. Members are being chosen to ensure a wide representation across the county, including CPOs, parks visitors, volunteers, park neighbors, business community, accessibility, recreation, and conservation groups as well. We, at that policy session, informed the board that we would be looking to invite a commissioner to serve as an ex officio member of that effort. This would provide the board an opportunity to basically be a part of that planning effort and also be able to provide updates to the rest of the board at specific times. This is not a long-term commitment. This is not a year's commitment. We're looking to do it over the next years. We see next year, singular, my apologies. We expect, I believe, probably four meetings in total over the year, the first one being January 21st. We're discussing those meetings. We believe we know for the fact the first couple will be in person. Then we may be looking at also other options as well to host them either via Zoom or digitally. But we can talk more about that once the group comes together. With that, we would be open to opportunities from the board to look at a recommendation.
Okay. Diana, you're interested?
I am interested,
Good,
yes.
because, yeah,
Unincorporated, yes.
yeah. And the parks are beautiful, and parks people are wonderful people, just like the library people.
My only question is, Dan, I saw the first Wednesday that you have on here is the 21st of January. Do you know, are those once a month? Or I don't want to commit without making sure and also I should Commissioner Savas might want to do this too, so.
No. You're good. You want to trade? You want to trade?
That's right.
Parks.
No, no, definitely not. Do you know if they're on like that third Wednesday or
They're,
is it?
they're quarterly, approximately,
quarterly,
yeah,
okay.
because they're over the next year. I'd say quarterly. They're probably every 2 months,
Okay.
give or take.
Okay. Okay. Wednesday's a good night.
Backup if you can't
Okay.
make it or
Okay.
something. So,
Happy to do
here's.
So I move to appoint Commissioner Helm to the Parks Master Planning process.
And I will second that.
Commissioner Savas has moved to nominate Commissioner Helm to serve as the Parks Advisory Committee, seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Gary.
Thank you. Next, Medical Examiner's Office move design costs. This is a move of the Medical Examiner's Office. This is covered under the county general fund budget, but as you requested, if there's a shift of how we spend general funds during the year, you want to hear about it. So that's why you're hearing about it, although we don't need formal action from you. Daniel Nybauer, Director of Disaster Management, will give you the update. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair Robert, Commissioners. Since about 2004, the county medical examiner has been working in the state medical examiner's office space and having a great relationship. Through that, through an IGA, we pay about $46,800 a year for the office space to be able to do so. Coming up, the current IGA expires June 30th, 2027. And at that point, the medical examiner is anticipating to have grown large enough that we will no longer fit in the space. So we have to find a new space. We have worked with facilities and county administration to identify an already county-owned space for the medical examiner to utilize, but it's going to require some architectural work to be able to fit to the needs and requirements of the medical examiner office. That includes having a safe, confidential space to meet with families, secured areas for storage of personal properties, evidence, medications, drugs to comply with Oregon Criminal Justice Information Services and DEA. Facilities management is anticipating be about $125,000 of cost for having an architecture go in and make sure that the facility can be renovated to meet those needs. Facilities management was able to identify $125,000 from redirecting some capital funds for a paving project that will happen later in spring so that we can get this work started. We will continue to partner with Oregon State Medical Examiner's Office. They will allow us to continue using the morgue and draw specimens and temporarily house decedents while families are located, so we do not need to create a morgue within the county facility. And they have no plans to change that at this point in time. So that's the information that I have. What questions can I answer?
All right. Questions? Go ahead, Commissioner Helm.
How many square feet? I had the privilege, I guess, of visiting the ME's office early on, and I know you guys have cobbled together and done the very best with a small amount of space. What square footage are you moving from and to?
From the office space itself is about 800 square feet. I'm not sure, I don't have off the top of my head the current square footage, but that 800 square feet does not count shared space like bathrooms, changing rooms, lunchroom. So that 800 square feet is simply the footprint of the office space. So as we move into a new facility, we'll need to have that space of a shower facility and bathrooms, storage space, and those items.
Okay.
We can get you the number for
Just,
the
I didn't know if
intended
you're like
new
doubling
space.
your space or is it, because I know you were, it's a very tight quarters where you're in right now. So I just wondered how much more space you're going to be getting and for growth, because I know you do take a lot of,
There is plan for growth
okay.
within a couple extra spots to allow additional MDIs space to medical death investigators too.
So Jeff Jorgensen, Facilities Director, has the answer, so
Oh,
go ahead,
good.
please.
Thank
Jeff.
you.
Good morning. It's approximately 2,500 to 3,000 square feet is the old building that we're going into, the old
Okay.
OSU.
Okay.
So
What's
it
the
provides
current?
additional
You know the
space.
current, though.
Sorry?
Current space to future space.
The future space is the 25 to 3.
What's
Right.
the current?
The current office space is 800 square feet.
800, yeah.
Okay.
So it's, okay, good. There's room for growth. Thank you. Thank you, Jeff.
Chair?
Yes, I'm sorry.
My question is, from the campus master plan, what was the original disposition of that property or thoughts or development of that piece of property? What was in the works?
Jeff will assist with that as
Thank you,
well.
Jeff.
Don't go away, Jeff.
So the master plan actually just assigns that as an office. We have an OSU in there right now, with the current master plan. But with them moving out, ultimately, it's an office. So it fits within the same requirements.
Okay, so we weren't gonna raise it or anything.
No, we were gonna keep the building. The question is the module that's OSU's training is kind of attached to that. It's still there. Even in the master plan, it's still there. So you could use that for something else also.
Okay, great. That's all I have. Thanks.
Maureen,
Yeah, so are they going to be co-located then with the OSU?
That's what.
That's the same building, right? Yeah.
What are you
Where
talking
Oregon
about?
State Extension is right now. We give them a building, do we not?
Say that again, sorry, Commissioner?
Oregon State University Extension is in the building currently.
Correct.
Am I correct? Okay. So they'll be co-located with the coroner?
No, they will be moving to the community college
And the
with the new
community
building
Well,
out
that's what I was wondering, but that's not happening for a
No,
while.
but
Yeah.
I'll
So-
answer this. So until they move, they're going to temporarily move to an old technology services building in that area. So they
Okay.
will not be co-located
Okay, great. Thank you.
for security purposes.
All right.
Any questions? Okay, thank you both very much, and this information only, we'll move on. Gary?
Great, thank you. Next, short-term rental pilot program, request for extension. Caroline Hill from the Board of County Commissioners Office and Alex Lockhart will give a brief presentation. You're all in the loop on this, but we want to formally seek your approval. Go ahead, please, Caroline and Alex.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Hi.
Caroline Hill, County Administration. So we are here to request an additional extension to the SDR program to June 2026. For some background, in November of last year, we were here and the board approved a 4-month extension of the program, bringing the new deadline to April 7th of 2026. The goal of the extension was to allow staff to connect with the community and to solicit feedback on the program. The outreach would include a survey and a town hall. We heard from the Hoodland community that while they appreciate the efforts to offer a town hall in person at the mountain, there were some concerns about the potential for inclement weather. And to ensure that we had high attendance to these town hall, they requested that we push out the deadline for our town hall. And of course, staff, we thought we should be supportive of their request, and we thought that we would, to accommodate this, we needed to extend the deadline of the SDR pilot program. So we are here today to request for the additional time to push that deadline to June of 2026, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just want to comment to say thank you for reaching out to this CPO and the people up on the mountain and make sure that we do this collaboratively so they know that they helped make this decision. And I agree completely. So I move that we approve the extension of the SCR pilot program till June 30th of this year.
Second.
Commissioner Helms, Commissioner Salvis has moved to extend the short-term rental pilot program until June 30th, 2026. Commissioner Helms seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Before I
Gary?
step away, I would like to just share that we have a survey set to go out by the end of this week on the STRs. So we're going to be sending it out to all our interested parties, and press release is going to go out with a link and everything. So that's coming up. Also, we will be holding a virtual town hall in February to allow people to attend, from all over the county. And we will hold the in-person town hall at the mountain. We're looking at the time, looks like April 1, but we'll just get it down, and then we'll get the word out.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Carolyn.
you.
All right. Gary?
All right, thank you. Next, advisory board and commission appointments. Andrew, go ahead, please.
Mr. Chair, there are 2 advisory bodies for the board's consideration today. The first is the Community Action Board, staffed by Health, Housing, and Human Services, which currently has 4 openings due to term expirations. Public recruitment opened in June of 2025 and closed in September of 2025. 4 total applications were received, and 3 are recommended for appointment. All 3 applicants are new. I'll also add emphasis, Mr. Chair, that one applicant may be a familiar name, Mr. Brian Nava, who would fill a seat specifically reserved for a local elected official on the body. The recommendation is as follows. Melissa Long to a first term ending June 2028, Brian Nava to a first term ending June 2028, and Elisa Hutchins to a first term ending June 2028. The board could select other candidates or require further recruitment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. Colleagues, questions? Yes, Diana Hill.
Just for myself and anyone else who might be listening, can you please explain what the Community Action Board does?
Yes, Commissioner. The Community Action Board is primarily focused on helping the lower income members of our community and ensuring county policies and programs best serve their needs.
Thank you.
Thank you, Drew. All right, we have a motion.
Move to approve the slate.
Second?
All right. Commissioner Savis has moved to appoint Melissa Long, Brian Nava, and Alyssa Hutchins to the Community Action Board. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, clerk. And the second body?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The second appointment for consideration today is for the Local Public Safety Coordinating Council, or LPSC, staffed by the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office, which currently has 2 openings due to incumbent resignations. One position is specifically reserved for a city councilor or mayor. Recruitment was done through direct communication to city elected officials. Estacada Mayor Sean Drinkwine expressed interest. The other position is reserved for the director of the Clackamas County Juvenile Department. Alice Perry recently assumed this position. Therefore, the recommendation is as follows. Sean Drinkwine to a first term ending January 2030, and Alice Perry to a first term on an ongoing basis. The board could require further recruitment, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any questions, comments?
I move to approve the slate for the Local Public Safety Coordinating Council.
Second.
Commissioner Savis has moved to approve Sean Drinkwine, Alice Perry to the Local Public Safety Coordinating Council. Commissioner Helm has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Savis,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Gary?
Thank you. Next, review of your board business meeting agenda for this Thursday, January 15, 2026 at 10 a.m. You will have public communication, of course, followed by selection of the 2026 board vice chair. The vice chair, as you know, simply is a position of the 4 county commissioners, not counting the chair, to serve in the instance when the chair is unable to be in the office. Commissioner Schrader is next in rotation for this assignment, but it's totally up to you as a board who you choose to choose as your next vice chair. You will have that discussion and make that decision this Thursday. As well, the Housing Authority needs a vice chair. It's whoever you choose as the board's vice chair. You also formally appoint that person as the Housing Authority vice chair. You'll have a presentation, business spotlight on Allied Technologies International, a previously approved land use issue, 2 public hearings on boundary changes for both. You'll meet as the Service District Number 5 for a public hearing on an ordinance adopting code changes that you previously discussed at policy sessions. You have a lengthy consent agenda for the Board of County Commissioners and the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. And then under my update as administrator, I will share with you the single contract I signed on your behalf during your board recess. So that's a full agenda. If you have any questions on any of these items, if you'll please let me know prior to Thursday, so I may have staff in the room to answer your questions for you. Next, Justice of the Peace Surety Agreement. Judge Kathleen Rastetter, your Justice of the Peace, could not be here today, so I am presenting this on her behalf. There's a memo in your packet. Under Oregon Revised Statute 51.250, anytime there is a new Justice of the Peace in a county, they're required to file certain documents with the county clerk, including a surety undertaking. Now, the last time you did this was 2009 when Judge Brisbane was appointed, and you've not done it since. So this was news to me, but Judge Rastetter filled me in. I'm not sure how old this Oregon statute is, but as you can see on the attachment, it requires that if Judge Rastetter does not faithfully turn over all the monies she collects during her court sessions to the county, the court, she is owed a fine of $2,500. So I don't know where the law came from, but she needs to have this surety agreement authorized by the Board of County Commissioners. It's already been signed by Judge Brisbane and Laura Anderson of the Justice Court Office. So today I'm just seeking your approval to authorize, on behalf of the board, this surety undertaking that Judge Rastetter is required to file.
So moved.
Second?
Right. Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the surety undertaking for the Justice of Peace. Kathleen Radstetter, Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, could you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
And Gary.
Great, thank you. Next is board recess schedule for 2026. Staff and I are requesting your formal approval of your recess calendar for the calendar year, so we can get it on the books now. We've also included times we know that you will all be attending a conference. So the list is, and it's on your screen, February 23rd to 26th, National Association of Counties Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C., March 23rd to 26th, Spring Break, June 29th through July 2nd, Independence Day, August 24th through September 8th, this is 2 weeks, your annual August recess over Labor Day. November 16th to 19th, Association of Oregon Counties Conference in Eugene. November 23rd to 26th, Thanksgiving. And then December 21 to 31, that's a 2-week break, Christmas and New Year's holiday break. So seeking your approval of this schedule, of course, during the year, you have every right to change this schedule, to add or subtract. But just for planning purposes, seeking your approval of this schedule today so that we can get it on your calendars, knowing you can always change it later. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, I don't have any challenges or issues with this in general, but I'm wondering if we can have a conversation soon, or today, maybe there's time today, or right after this agenda item, to talk about the travel expenses for some of these things. I'm just concerned. Thank you for the red sheet, by the way. But I am, when I'm looking at the first one, the NACO travel and other related travel things, I'm just kind of concerned that because we're in the red, how we get ourselves back in the black. So I want to have that conversation, but I am okay with this schedule.
I move we approve the proposed 2026 board recess schedule.
Second?
Commissioner Helm has moved to approve the proposed 2026 board recess schedule. Commissioner Schrader has seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the poll.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
And Gary.
Thank you. Commissioner, if we can maybe discuss that after we finish the list here, and then under Commissioner Communications, the travel discussion. Next is TriMet District 7, a nomination letter of support. Commissioner Savas will present, and there's a draft letter in your packet. Go ahead, please, Commissioner.
Yeah, colleagues, for the last few months, there's been, prior to the announcement of TriMet Board Director Kathy Way, there was discussion that potentially there might be a seat open for Clackamas County. We didn't know the details. So discussions have been occurring with mayors and interested parties, counselors about this. And in the last few weeks of December, Mayor Buck led the charge to get an approval of a letter crafted for Jeff Goodman to recommend to the governor and the state for the governor's appointment to the TriMet board for District 7. District 7 is almost all of Clackamas County urban, with the exception of the city of Milwaukee. Milwaukee is literally carved out separately from that in a different district. So this primarily covers that. I support Jeff Goodman for this position. I think knowing the circumstances of TriMet's financial challenges, knowing his financial acumen, I think he'd be a great fit. And his experience in government would be a great fit. So I would, number one, encourage us to send a letter and also to individually sign on to the letter that's being submitted on behalf of the elected officials of Clackamas County.
Looks like there's a question, Diana Hill.
No questions. I do fully support Jeff Goodman for this position. As you have said, he has the financial acumen to offer a lot of good information to TriMet in the midst of their many large decisions they're making right now.
I just feel an excellent candidate and a good colleague
Yes.
through the years. So,
Great.
do we need a motion?
Yes,
I
please.
move we appoint to, Mr. Goodman to the TriMet Board.
Endorse.
Endorse. Okay,
Second.
all right.
All right. Commissioner Schrader has moved to endorse Jeff Goodman as District 7 nominee for the TriMet Board of Directors. Commissioner Hill is seconding. For the discussion?
Yes, friendly amendment. Commissioner Schrader, could you add to also approve the letter?
Yes.
In the packet.
A friendly amendment, I will also move to approve the letter as written.
Second.
Second.
Right. So we'll make an amendment to that. So Commissioner Schrader has moved to endorse Jeff Goodman as the District 7 nominee for the TriMet Board of Directors with an amendment with an approval for the letter. Commissioner Helm has seconded. Any further discussion? I think we're ready for a poll then.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
And Gary.
All right, the final item is Commissioner Communications. Before you start, I do want to say, as you had requested on your tables at your dais is a piece of paper that shows the unbudgeted amount of general fund you as a board have authorized this current fiscal year. And it shows the purpose and the dollar amount. Some of this you've already done a supplemental budget for, which you'll see in the final column. Others you haven't. It is approximately $991,000 so far, which ultimately will come from contingency. So as requested, we'll keep this at your dais. I'll update it as you make additional changes, just to help keep in the back of your mind how you're spending the public's money. Commissioner Savas, up to you and the board if you want to talk about travel now or defer that to later, but up to you.
Well, I don't have any action per se, other than I certainly would wanna, I think it'd be, I always believe in leading by example, so, knowing as tight as the budget is, I am just concerned that, if we have, opportunities of savings, or we have situations where we do something, an anomaly like the idea of all of us going to NACO, which is, I don't think has ever been done before, quite the expense. I would love to join you all, but I'm inclined, not because I don't want to go, but I'm inclined to just recognize the fiscal constraints we have. So Gary, first of all, thank you for responding to our request for this. It's a smaller number than I thought. That's good. But nonetheless, it's still $900,000 that we need to resolve between now and May. So I just want to bring our attention to it. I don't know what plans you have budgetarily to adjust for this $991,000. I don't know if travel is that, how big that is or small. Whether it's us as a board or our staff or our departments, but I just think we ought to be as careful and cognizant of the fact that we're in the red a little bit.
Back in the pandemic, 2020, so it's now 6 years old, we did run how much travel cost the entire organization across all departments and offices. It was $1 million total for all 2,500 employees, every office and department. I did freeze travel in 2020 and 2021 only those who were required for job certification or training were allowed to travel on behalf of the county. No one else. That included the board. You agreed to that at the time. It is true, since you've been a 5-member commission, you have not all traveled together to a conference except for the Association of Oregon Counties Conference in Eugene. As far as your office budget, we have an office budget for your travel. With all 5 of you going to the NACO conference, it will exhaust that budget. So technically, you can't travel the rest of the year. Obviously, that's not going to happen. We'll adjust our office budget to accommodate your travel. But I don't feel prepared to limit travel as an organization yet, but I have always asked departments to be really mindful where you're going on the public's dollar.
Thank you, Gary. Like I said, I will probably decline to go in light of the budgetary constraints, and I don't know what the rest of the year looks like. So I would like some kind of an estimate to know what the travel plans are roughly for the calendar year.
For the board,
Yeah, for the board.
we'll do that. All right, so Commissioner Communications then.
Yeah. All right. Any comments before we move on to Commissioner Communication? I'll turn to my colleague to the right, Commissioner
Thank you for that. That's very
Schrader.
kind of
So,
you to
yes.
recognize years of doing this job. I really appreciate it. It's very, very kind.
Thanks.
Very kind of you. Well, just let me say that Happy New Year to everybody. I think I brought some chocolate home for folks. I don't think I've given it to my commissioners yet, but I went to Edinburgh over New Year's, which was really fun. It was on my bucket list, and it was on because of a visit with my older daughter's family, and they live in Bristol, England. So we kind of did a road trip up through Scotland. And the only thing I can say is the Scotsmen, they love fireworks. I have to tell you, every hour on the hour on New Year's Eve, there were fireworks going off from Edinburgh Castle. And we had the opportunity to visit the castle prior to that, and it looked like an armed fortress. It was because they had lined up all the fireworks. So I just wanted to mention that because it was a great trip. In terms of business, I have some good news. The conversations with Oregon State University Extension and Clackamas Community College are ongoing, and they've been moving ahead extremely well. I think we're going to get there, and I think it will be an opportunity not only to enhance our community colleges' opportunities, but also to have our state land-grant institution involved on that campus and to really work together on their programming and what they can offer the students. So that's been kind of my news for this week. Other than that, I'm just trying to get rid of the crud right now. And hopefully that will happen soon. And finally, again, when we do talk about NACO, I do want to let folks know I am running for the second vice presidency of the National Association. We've only had two other individuals, Bill Hansel and Randy Frankby, actually move up in that ladder. And so I've been busy contacting all my colleagues nationally, contacting also some of the folks who run a lot of the departments there. As many of you know, I did chair Community Economic and Workforce Development and have served as vice chair on a number of other national committees. And one of the reasons I do think it's important is that we are so dependent on both federal and state dollars that the primary purpose of the organization is really to help frame at this last conference, the Western Interstate Region. Well, actually, that one's coming up in May. This was the conference that the president holds every winter, and that's where we set the national agenda for the counties as a whole across the nation, and it guides all the lobbying efforts and gets us in front of Congress to let them know that we are the doers at this level. We not only make policy, we are also the folks that are implementing that policy, oftentimes for the most vulnerable populations we have. So that's all I've got for today. So thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you, Mark. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah. Well, my 3 weeks here, last week I was attended some meetings. I know I bumped into Commissioner Helm at one or two of them, I believe. Had unfortunate some family matters, health issues occur. So I've been somewhat sidetracked with that in the last few weeks. But anyhow, I do want to say, just building on the shifting over to the NACO thing, I find the most value of the two conferences, the legislative conference
Yeah.
in February and the one in the summer one to be the most advantageous and constructive, because so many people flood Washington DC at
know.
that particular time. I've done both, and I'm more inclined to do the summer one. I think there's just more value for the county, and the committee structures are more constructive and educational. And so, if I had to pick, that's the one I'm likely to consider. Where is that this year? Do you know, Martha?
Oh, the one in May?
No, the
No,
one, the summer.
New
the-
Orleans.
New Orleans,
New
New
Orleans?
Orleans, and that's where, here's what's happening at the Ledge Conference that we're going to right now. What happens is the candidates have their setup, they have their table, they've got their platform. Those are some of the things I've been working on. I'm working on a leadership platform, actually, and in the process of writing that now. In February, you present your platform nationally to the whole group. It's published in in NACO's newsletter, pretty much. And the Ledge Conference is kind of the first introduction to the rest of our colleagues about who is interested in running. It's going to be very interesting this year because there's only 2 commissioners running. There is myself and another commissioner from Loudoun County, Virginia, but there are 2 other candidates. One is a treasurer, and the other one is a clerk, and that's somewhat unusual to have happen. So it's going to be an interesting experience, let me put it that way, one way or the other. And the Ledge Conference is when a lot of that happens, and committee assignments and things of that sort. But then the one in the summer is really where you get a lot more work, I would say. Yeah, I'd agree with you on that assessment. With
Yeah,
that one
great.
Summer.
Yeah, thank you. So the other thing I wanted to chat about a little bit, just want to bring your attention. I think Commissioner Helm's aware of this. Some of the meetings she attends related to transportation. There's been a lot of emphasis on transportation safety concerns and fatalities and accidents around the region. And Metro's put a lot of that. Actually, ODOT has put, not just region-wide, but statewide, put a lot of attention. And so the Oregon Transportation Commission has also identified it as one of their priorities. As the current chair of the Region 1 Act, I can tell you that we are going to be changing up things a little bit. We'll see at our next meeting what's happening, but the state is revamping how the capital improvement investments are being made, and safety is one of those. A lot of conversations related to some of the challenges, like why are the traffic fatalities up? Why are the traffic accidents up with pedestrians and so on? So Portland has seen a sharp increase. We've seen an increase. When I looked into the Portland rate of incident, and kind of also heard this again recently, I heard that it was because the Portland Police Bureau pulled back on patrol, or I don't know if it was motors unit or patrol units or whatnot, but they went from almost a twofold increase in fatalities. I don't know if that's a one-to-one relationship or not. I do know, again, that it's a concern, and we got a letter last evening, and this is another one, is crosswalks. So pedestrian, I got a number of calls last week and even over the weekend about different pedestrian concerns and speed limits on 99E from Canby all the way to Milwaukee. So I know we're doing our TSP. You appointed me to sit out on that role of that committee, but I don't know why, but right now it seems to be, I won't say at a fever pitch, but it seems to be growing, a lot more concern. And so I just want to bring your attention that is a hot spot. And I spoke to Dan yesterday, Dan Johnson yesterday from DTD, and I think in a meeting here in December, I pointed out a particular, when Rose Villa was here, pointed out a pedestrian crossing issue. And I've really worked hard in the last 3 weeks on that, and I think I've identified the reason why. I shared that with Dan, why there is this visual challenge with that. And I think I can associate that to other similar models of crosswalks where incidents are higher around the region, not just Clackamas. So just want to let you know I'm working hard on that. And I did have a question, Chair, if I may, and that is that in your experience as sheriff with patrol and citing traffic issues, I don't know if that was necessarily a motors unit thing so much as it was patrol, but do you guys worked really hard. I know that what was that committee or that work group that worked hard for drunk drivers? You were part of that.
We had a group called Safe Communities, and so we would statistically look at areas. We do homework before we go to a particular area. So for example, they could set up those timers that identify the speed, when the traffic is, time of day, so that when you're deploying resources, that's an effective time where you can reduce, speeding violations or accidents. So, and then the other component of that is there any engineering or design things that can help reduce it? So it's kind of a separate pot of money to use to, reduce fatalities, crashes, and constantly look at kind of the data to support it. So I believe Joe Merrick was a big part of that, and Sarah McClure from the Sheriff's Office, and kind of a team of people. So I'm not sure where that's at. I know that they, the other big issue obviously is DUI enforcement. And it's, as you might be aware of, one DUI arrest could take you off half a shift. So it's really impacts, if you're making those, it does have, you have less staff too. So anyway, but I'm not sure. Is that what you're inquiring?
Well, I guess
about?
when I see again momentum happening and changes being made at the state level and locally, and so they're asking for our input. I'm not here ready to propose that we identify or validate or grab onto one priority or not over what the OTC and the state and then locally, regionally on safety issues. But this fatality concern is high, and there's been this question about how much law enforcement and patrol or whatever it may be can help in those areas, in Portland being seeing a pretty high spike. So we've done a good job. Clackamas County is recognized for Vision Zero, right? We're this even came up at a NACO conference several years ago that I went to. So we're recognized. We've done good work, but I might be coming to you all for an endorsement of what our top priority is in transportation. Of the 3 or 4 buckets of priorities, how we rank them. So,
Oh,
but that's a lot for today. So, Chair, I yield back.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Hill.
With that, I know because I attend the JPAC meetings as well, and I know that they talk a lot about 0 crashes, 0 fatalities, which is a very noble goal, but you're taking the human factor out of it. And I can't tell you how many times I'm driving down a street and someone is crossing the road while they're looking at their phone. And if we're going to talk about 0, I think it's an unattainable goal, and I don't mean to be cynical, but it's to take the human factor out of that, I think it's going to be really tough to do. So I think there's areas where it can be addressed more than others, and I know the Roseville area you're talking about quite well. So, yeah, it's an interesting conundrum. Commissioner Savas and I attended the CCBA luncheon last week at the Carver Center, where our state legislators were there to give an update on what their goals are and what their 2 bills are going into the short session. Transportation is back on the table again after Governor Kotek took back the package that she had out on the table, knowing that with the referendum it was likely not going to move forward. Now, there was discussion again about tolling and how it's been coming, kind of creeping its ugly head again. So I will say Commissioner Savas brought up the fact that that it's been, all the legislators have been on board for not having that part of any package, and yet it was discussed that it might be part of the next one. So we had assurances from one legislator that was not the case, and we didn't get a kind of a whole committed, I would say, voice on that. So we are all obviously still against tolling, and hopefully that doesn't rear its ugly head. It was kind of interesting to hear the topics that are being brought forward. Was that videoed? Was that I don't know if that meeting was taped or not. So whether people can go back and look at the CCBA luncheon.
I don't know if that was taped.
I don't know if it was either. Anyway, it was a bit enlightening. So that was that, and then the C4 meeting we had last week as well. Kind of just our direction going forward. But I had the privilege of spending time with my kids and grandkids over the holidays and hold babies, and it was fun. And yet, and dogs, oh my God, my house was kind of chaos there for a bit, but it's kind of all nice when they went away, and it was really quiet again too. So, sorry kids, love you and all, but it's being a grandparent is going to be so much more fun, right? So, and then I had a nice little breakaway out of town for a week. So thank you, Gary, for the extended recess. Much needed, much more needed than I thought, until I was able to relax a little bit. So Happy New Year, everyone. Let's get some work done.
Great, thank you. We will be back here at 1:30. We'll return for a policy session. Just quickly, I want to thank Gary and staff. They've kind of had a long task list of things we were trying to move forward. It's very exciting to really hit the ground running this new year. We've got a lot of big priorities and projects, and I can just tell you from the time off I came back, conversation I've had with Gary has really been working hard on helping us move a lot of the things that we all want to move forward in this coming year. So very exciting, and we'll be back here at 1:30 and for a policy session. So with that, we'll be adjourned. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone, to this afternoon session of the Clackamas County Board of County Commissioners.
Chair, I'm sorry, is your microphone on?
Wasn't on, there we go. Again, welcome back, everyone, to this afternoon session of the Clackamas County Board of County Commissioners, January 13th, 2026. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Commissioner West is in Washington, D.C. on county business. Roll call, Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you. And Gary, you want to introduce our first policy session?
Yes. First session today is Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, or CPACE program. Presenting is Dan Johnson, Director of Transportation and Development, and Laura Edmonds, Economic Development Manager. Go ahead, please.
Thank you so much. We are here today to talk about, as we have discussed with you previously, possible additions to our toolbox for incentives and or assistance that we can provide to the commercial and industrial development community. We have had a talk with you, I believe it was last year sometime, about bringing forward together kind of a comprehensive list of possible new programs that could be adopted. Those will range in a number of different areas. For example, some are tax deferral, some are other tools, some are direct investment. And CPACE, the item you're going to hear about today, was going to be a part of that discussion. We were approached by the City of Lake Oswego and other interested parties regarding a desire to fast track or to separate the CPACE discussion out of that broader dialogue and advance it for consideration for the Board of County Commissioners. There are a number of projects. I know of one in the City of Lake Oswego we were made aware of, And there is another that is located up in Mount Hood, where we have a private investor looking to implement CPACE financing to assist with some of the debt payment on this particular project. So let's, and I just want to make sure we're clear today. The simple question we have for the board is, do you want us to continue to advance research, develop a conceptual program, bring it back to a policy session, future policy session for the board to review that, concur with that, and then move it forward for implementation? Implementation of any plan will require, obviously, public hearing to adopt the program, because it will require adoptions and changes to county code. So this is simply not a blessing. You send staff away, we go on our merry way, and you never hear from us again. This is kind of the first of these discussions. So what is CPACE? Essentially, I know enough to be dangerous kind of about this. So, and I'll be honest, we do not know everything, but essentially, CPACE has been authorized by state legislation, which authorizes local governments, the county, to establish programs to help commercial property owners finance energy, water, renewable energy, seismic improvements to qualify in real property. Attachment A of your packet provides kind of a breakdown of what those, what that program might look like, and or what elements we may be considering. But essentially, at its core, it allows for the public entity to apply a lien over a project to ensure repayment of debt, and that coordination with the public government then gives more comfort to lending organizations in which they know that debt will be secured. And the question is, and again, this is not approving debt. I want to make sure we're clear. Our role and responsibility is not approving debt or issuing debt. We have nothing to do with that. This is a direct discussion between the developer and or the capital entity. Essentially, it is, do we want to be a partner in helping them secure the debt in a certain fashion? That's all it is. We don't have any liability on the debt. So if the debt was, say, $1 million, the county is not in a position where we're lending, we're not giving public monies to this particular entity. All we're providing is the reassurance of the public lien that would go on that particular property. So we are having development of a program. Development of a program can take a variety of different forms. We've been in contact with other entities that have had a program of this nature, namely Washington County, Deschutes County, Prosper Portland, which used to be the urban renewal entity over at the city of Portland. They're operating a program right now. In fact, we had a meeting with that individual yesterday, a very helpful meeting. And then kind of there's this Mid-Columbia Economic District, which is Hood River County, Sherman, Wasco, and some others that are implementing this tool as well. It is starting to become more popular in the public component or public tools that are out there to fund or assist in funding commercial industrial improvements. But I'm not going to say it's overwhelmingly popular yet. For example, I believe Washington County only has a number of projects they've done this on. I think yesterday we spoke to the city of Portland. I think they had 9 applicants so far as they started the program a number of years ago. So it's not an overwhelming windfall of individuals that are coming forward today currently, but they are of significant size. Washington County's got about $43 million worth of projects that are in the pipeline. I think Deschutes was somewhere, from the information we have, is around a couple $100 million. Prosper Portland had a number of varying sizes of projects they were working on, but it's in the millions of dollars, and these projects are looking to move forward. What we would be doing is essentially working with the information we have and essentially the other public jurisdictions we're aware of to kind of take a better, deeper dive into the programs they have and see what might be interesting to this board to adopt. And when I say board to adopt and what the program looks like, I can share with you kind of briefly what Prosper Portland's program looked like. Essentially, they are looking to fund certain energy efficiency improvements that move the needle of efficiency 5% higher than what the current code, the building code, does. So essentially what they do is they go in there and they do an energy audit on a project, and they look at the improvements that are being proposed. And I say improvements, this can be new construction as well, so whatever these enhancements or new construction may be, and ensure it has a 5% improvement in energy efficiency. And that's kind of one of their, if it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? If it's a If it's a viable cost, the program will consider, it's got to fall into essentially that category. In addition to that, they have parameters regarding how much they will lend. So for example, they'll only cover about 25% of the eligible project costs. So that limits the liability these public entities are having as well. They also have been looking at, and this was interesting information, the type of liens that are placed. So they had initially been starting with the liens that were placed from the assessment department. And we'd have to have talks with Bronson Rueda, our county assessor, which we have given him a heads up that we're talking to you today about this, that we'll follow up with him. But it's the type of lien is important. And since the inception of the plan at the city of Portland, they've actually moved from these assessment liens into kind of an LID lien, which local improvement districts. We have not done a local improvement district in a long time, but county code does consider the formation of a local improvement district, which is essentially a consortium of public individuals that are looking to use the power of the county and the financial power of the county to fund a project that liens are subsequently placed on their property for recollection of those costs. Again, we have not had one in over a decade, but it is still a tool that is in county code. I want to just briefly talk about cost. So for example, we bring forward to you kind of a costing proposal on fee structure for this. Just to give you a comparable, City of Portland right now has like a 1 point or 1% origination fee for some of these projects. And so if you think about, you know, $1 million loan, you're looking at about $10,000 for startup costs that would cover either costs from the implementing staff, meaning the Office of Economic Development, their costs, and other costs throughout the county for recording these liens, et cetera. They have a quarter point administration fee. So for as long as it is in place, an annual fee of about a quarter point. And then there is also the requirement that if there is any default or foreclosure on these properties, that they submit a retainage for that action. So they submit like a $5,000 retainer fee for that actions to cover any kind of staff costs associated with it. We have been in contact with Brian Nava, County Treasurer, has been part of the discussion. Caleb Hugel over with County Council has been part of the discussion as well. There's still some rocks to turn over to kind of really figure out kind of how this is going to fit in the portfolio of opportunities and our programs the county has and what the county's objectives might be. But from the rocks that we have overturned, the liability doesn't and the risk doesn't seem high. So we are here. We presented you with a couple of different options. I mean, one of which is to direct staff to develop a CPACE program for basically consideration by the board and to bring it back at a future policy session. You can provide us alternative direction if you have deep thoughts about CPACE financing and have some insight associated with that. Or last but not least, take no action at this time. If we took no action at this time, we probably would be consolidating this discussion more in-depthly with the other programmatic tools we're looking to bring forward to you. And we would kind of consider it and have you evaluate this in the context of all those other elements we're looking at. So that is about all I have. We'd be happy to answer any. I'm not sure we can answer all your questions, I'll be honest with you, but we'd be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Savas, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm intrigued, so I am interested and likely going to support looking into this deeper, or whatever the next step is. But I do have a question. Am I to interpret at least one of the bullets or what's been said here that, let's just say that if a property is delinquent on taxes and is a CPACE funded improvement on the property, that we would go from first in line to second in line?
To the best of my knowledge, I believe it's the reverse. We would go from second to first.
Well, it sounds like, if I'm reading this correctly, and again, that's what I was asking, it's, I believe I
You
interpreted.
subordinate the loan or subordinate the lending. I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah, so as, again, if got it backwards, that's great, but normally we're first in line if it's not a CPACE thing. Let's just say someone's delinquent on taxes, aren't we first in line?
Yes, pardon me. For tax payment, yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I apologize,
Okay.
yes.
So if it's a CPACE program, we could possibly go to second in line.
Well, the correlation is kind of different. I mean, it is what would happen is that, oh, you really want to answer this, don't you? Okay. Yeah, sure. If you want to answer that, go ahead.
To the best of our knowledge, taxes comes first, and then if you have a primary lender, they have to relinquish their primary position as lien holder, and they would take a second position behind the CPACE loan. So taxes, CPACE, and then the other primary lender. So there has to be a letter authorizing or relinquishing their position as the lien holder.
So again, and that's the kind of the nuance which caught us by surprise, to some honesty, is the interest of a primary lender wanting to become further down in that list of collection. So subordinate that loan.
Right. And last question for now, at least, is that in the packet, it says cost of $30,000. What cost would that be?
I just random. That's the best number I had. The cost of what it would cost us. It's kind of, and that's more around our cost to set up the program. That's more what that is trying to establish. So it's staff cost in regards to the time here. It's adopting things. It's working with county council and the good work they do to help and develop kind of the code. They've already took kind of a preliminary crack at that and the development of that code, but that was the estimated cost of implementation.
Right. I have more, but Commissioner Helm has her card up, so.
Thanks. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, I know that you've been contacting other jurisdictions about how their CPACE programs are working, and I know you have risks and barriers as kind of your final bullet point in here, or your final, what do you call it? Anyway, yes, that. And so have you found anything that is detrimental? I mean, have you uncovered anything that really gives you pause? I mean, obviously there's things we don't know yet, but having talked to the other jurisdictions, has there been anything there? I realize it's new. I realize not all the bugs have been worked out, and that happens with a lot of new programs. But if we can learn from what other people have done and not make the same mistakes, so
I think the most interesting discussion we've had to date is the dialogue around, and it doesn't happen frequently. I want to make sure we're clear, but around the foreclosure component. And I think the discussion we had with Portland yesterday was really insightful into how the importance. These are learning opportunities, okay? And so I think they developed their program and their process for the recording the lien in good faith under current code. They have found that there are improved ways to do that. And so I think while the ability to do this kind of financing has been in place, operationally, there's been refinements, and I think the discussions that we're having are reducing kind of the risks and concerns that we had, or answering the questions that we had. Because again, they're not issuing 100 or 200 or 300 of these a year.
Right.
You know, it's 1 or 2 every 2 to 5, give or take, and the scope and scale of those projects differ, but the foreclosure is probably the biggest concern that's out there, and it's where's the county's liability and the risk.
Yeah.
And if we're able to collect a fee for these components to benefit the lender and to benefit the development community, and reducing some of their costs and reducing some of their rates, that's a simple thing to do, as long as we aren't extending liability or projecting additional costs onto the county.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Paul, do you have any more?
Yeah, I guess the other thing I'm curious about is, lost my thought here. The opportunity, is there any, I can see the program itself has got its sideboards, if you will, requirements, criteria. I'm just wondering if we could, if we did adopt something, we could have some criteria that said in the case of where it would add AV, right? I mean, something that secures or gives us good cause, justification to take on this program, knowing that will be an increase in AV.
I believe, as with a lot of things that we do, you can be more restrictive than state statute. And by restrictive is an interesting word, because we use it on the regulatory side of things. You could be more, you could have more objectives with yours. So maybe there's like, hey, we'll do CPACE financing if you come into us and you have a, X million dollar project that increases assessed value by Y, we'll look to afford you this tool to then advance. I believe that's most definitely a possibility.
Yeah, I would love to see other models and figure out what levers can be put in place, and maybe there's an incentive or a different fee. I know that some jurisdictions charge varying fees for implementing the CPACE program, and if there's some kind of thing that, let's say, has a great AV potential, maybe there could be some kind of softening of those fees.
Yeah, we can bring back ranges for all of that for consideration. And I do want to back up, though. The qualifying improvements are stipulated by statute in what qualifies those. So some of the dialogue, and I guess it was interesting in that discussion with the city of Portland yesterday, auxiliary, because it has some general language in it, like auxiliary improvements. So it says focus on like seismic and energy efficiency and all that, then auxiliary improvements. So, the question they were getting is, well, wait a minute. Isn't the entire building auxiliary? Because if it wasn't for the building, then you couldn't do all these improvements. Like, no. We're not looking to fund the entire building. I mean, and so that's why you see like 25% of the costs, things like that. I mean, if you have a brand new building that's going up, its energy efficiency level and standards are pretty significant and pretty high. So it's just, there are different jurisdictions in the way they're implementing it. I think it's give us the time to go back, talk more in depthly with them. We can bring back a range of options for you. For consideration, and you can kind of tell us where you want to go with it.
Yeah, I can see with the language in there, the reason I asked the AV question, I can imagine that perhaps a rehab or a light rehab may not really add to AV, right? If it's a small improvement, water system or something like that, it may not really add to the AV. But again, I would be interested in whatever levers there would be. That's all I have, Chair.
Right. I just want to comment that I know you have a lot on your plate, and this was an additional kind of task to look at. And I know Diana Helm and I had some conversations, and this is a little bit of outside that box thinking and trying to be a little bit creative, but I think it's also really trying to be cautious as we move ahead. So, I'm in favor of kind of going to that next step, and I think that it could definitely be a benefit. I just think we just have to move forward cautiously is what I would say. And thank you. I know you got a lot on your plate. This is another task. So if there's any other questions, is there by chance anybody, a motion?
Chair, I move we direct staff to develop a CPACE program and return to a future board policy session.
Second.
All right. Commissioner Helm has made a motion to direct staff to develop a CPACE program, return to a future board policy session. It's been seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion?
Yeah, just a clarification. I mean, I probably would have worded the motion based on our conversation a little bit differently, but I'm okay. I'll take the leap of faith here. So my leap of faith is getting back to the levers and, options so that when you're putting this together, it's not as though we're just going to boom, go forward, but we got options along the way. So maybe there's a
Questions that we can call, and yep. And I think I've heard from the board, Crowe, that one, it's the desire, well, let's just be honest, we're not going to apply for this financing for a small project. It's just, there's just no reason for it. So I think it's kind of a base threshold for qualifying project costs maybe, and then increase assessed value. Kind of those development agency kind of components we were looking at historically for increased assessed value throughout the community.
Yep. Great, thanks.
All right. I think we're at a spot. Would you be so kind to call a poll for us?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
so much.
Andrew. And Gary, what's next?
Thank you. The next policy session is Facilities Management Naming Policy. The long-awaited policy for you. Presenting is Elizabeth Comfort, Finance Director. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Good afternoon, Chair and Commissioners. Elizabeth Comfort, Finance Director. We've presented to you an updated policy for naming county facilities. It's not been updated since 2007, so we've added some clarification, and 4 of those are just name based on function or use. And I know earlier today you donate or named a bench, I believe, or a stone. So this is a little different. This is based on an asset. Also based on location and named based on historic or geographic features. And then also, as occasion may arise, if someone wants to have their name on a building for a temporary time with a payment. That could be arranged via a contract for a limited time. So just additional clarifications to this policy for your consideration.
Questions, comments? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I thought that we had somewhere along the line in the last 15 years done something on the naming policy area. Am I mistaken?
Not for the county as a whole. You did one for NCPRD recently, you may be thinking of. And Wes did a naming policy that mirrored the county policy, the updated county policy. But no, the county as a whole, you've not done an update.
Okay. And again, I thought, maybe it was through NCPRD, but I thought this was something that CCI worked on way back? No?
did.
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, they did?
In the last year, yes.
Okay.
It all started with the Carver Boat Ramp naming a year ago.
Yeah.
That went to the Committee for
Right.
Community Involvement, in which your Parks Advisory Committee kind of went back and forth. That's what started it. But it culminated in the work that Elizabeth's presenting to you.
Okay. Okay.
So, by chance, is there a motion from one of my colleagues?
I move we approve the updated facilities management naming policy as presented.
Second.
All right. Commissioner Helm has moved to approve the updated facilities management naming policy as presented. It's been seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors. Gary.
Can we take a short break? You are approximately 1 hour ahead of schedule, and
Oh
the
my
staff's on their way, but we just need a short break, please.
That's a miracle.
That's okay.
That is a miracle.
That's a way to start a new year.
It's great. It's fantastic.
It's a good thing they're not in Oregon City. I mean, not Oregon City,
We'll
but
take a
but down by the
short
plant.
5-minute recess. All right, we'll resume our policy session. Gary, what's next?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. You're now meeting as the Water Environment Services Board of Directors. This is Water Environment Services 5-Year Capital Improvement Plan. Presenting is Greg Geist, Director of Water Environment Services, and Jeff Staller, the Capital Program Manager. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Gary. So this is something we do every year. Wes has a 5-year rolling capital improvement plan that describes all the projects that we're going to be, the capital projects for the next 5 years. Go ahead and pull up the next slide. So I just wanted to reiterate, I say this every year, but when Wes was formed in its current arrangement back in 2016, one of the really important things that did was allowed us to be able to plan long-term. And so we initiated a series of master plans for our collection system, for our facilities, facilities plans that look out 20 to 40 years, and what condition our equipment is in, what our needs for growth are going to be over that time horizon, and really paints a picture of what we need to build and when we need to build it. We couple that with a long-term financial plan that looks out at least 10 years that tells us how we're going to pay for it. So that's the context of the 5-year plan that we're looking at today. Next slide. And then on an annual basis, so we have our 5-year capital improvement plan you see on the left there. That translates into an annual capital budget that goes through the budget process with the board every year. Again, we use our long-term financial plan for our rate forecasting, propose the annual budget and rates that goes to the board for adoption. So this is a kind of a multi-bite at the apple type of scenario. And we do that religiously every year. It's best practice to do it every year. A lot of places don't, but we do. And next slide, and I'll hand it off to Jeff.
Thanks, Greg. So as you can see, the bars there on the slide indicate kind of our annual proposed spending annually over the next 5 years. And so just from a total perspective, we're looking at $236.7 million on the wastewater side and $26.5 million on the surface water side is what's in this 5-year CIP. I'll talk about a few of the projects in the coming slides, but I'll highlight the large bars on 26, 27, and 30, 31. And so those are driven by some major construction projects we'll have going on those years. We'll have the Clackamas area improvements, which is the first phase of the Clackamas Interceptor improvements along Highway 212. That'll be out to bid this late spring / early summer. We're currently constructing our IT2 force main and pump station improvements project. That'll move flow from the Happy Valley area and bring it to Tri-City. And the Rock Creek Interceptor is an extension to spur development up north in Happy Valley. And then the Tri-City Influent Pump Station, we're currently working on getting a contractor on board to navigate building that project. And so those are the big ones for the next 2 years. And then in 3031, we'll be under construction on the wet weather expansion at the Tri-City facility. And so I'll talk more about that project on a coming slide. So this is the wet weather expansion. So last year when we presented the CIP, we were in the middle of, I'll call it negotiation, collaborating with DEQ on kind of our recommended improvements at the facility here at Tri-City and what DEQ would approve us to build. And so I'm happy to say that through collaboration and working closely with DEQ, we got our facility plan approved, so that now we have a direction on what type of facility we need to build down there. It's not an insignificant investment at $59.5 million, but this will be a on-site high flow treatment facility that'll be brought online during these peak wet weather events. We just experienced a couple of them over the last few weeks. And that'll help us meet permit during those high flow events. But it'll increase about 35 million gallon of capacity it'll add to the Tri-City facility. The next slide is the influent pump station. And so I'll talk a little bit about this one. It's a pretty interesting, I think, I don't want to get too technical or into the weeds, but it's essentially the pump station that pumps all the flow that comes into Tri-City has to be pumped to the screenings. And so this is the pump station that does that. So it's a really complex station that needs to pump our low dry weather flows all the way up to our peak wet weather flows. And so this project was identified in the facility plan as needing renewal. Its original pumps, they're 40 plus years old, and so it's really time to renew those, but also we're at a capacity position where we need capacity in that station. And so kind of the firm capacity currently of that station is 47 million gallons a day, and when we're done with this project, it'll be 72 million gallons a day. So that'll really kind of give us that additional capacity necessary to send flow through our plants. And next slide.
That's already, it's up
Yeah,
there.
sorry.
Is it done?
The Rock Creek Interceptor project is a project I mentioned. This one goes north up in Happy Valley and then east along Troge Road. We built the first phase of this project back in 2012. It came online, and so this is the next phase of that project to build out that portion of our infrastructure and our interceptors. I'll note, it's a pretty straightforward project. It's just building pipes, but between the collaborative of stakeholders, we have DTD that's doing a project at 172nd. They're putting a roundabout in, so we've been hard at work collaborating with that project as part of our extension, and then Happy Valley with their community center and downtown plans. We've been really collaborating there. This project's important, I think, not only from a delivery perspective, but for the board, we're gonna be getting easements, not only access easements to get out and do some of the studies we'll need to do, but then permanent easements. And so that might impact our project schedule depending upon how the appetite of the property owners for working with us on those. And I'm sure we'll be back to talk about land acquisition here in the coming year several times on this project. So. The next slide is really on our influent and infiltration work we're doing with our member communities. Back in 2019, when our sanitary system master plan was completed, part of the analysis there was that it was cost-effective to address deficiencies in our existing collection system rather than just continuing to expand our treatment plant on the order of about $100 million savings if we're able to successfully target these areas. We've done a trial essentially with our member communities, Gladstone, Milwaukee, Oregon City, and West Lynn. And so far to date, we've contributed about $6.8 million to these projects that are being delivered by our member communities in these basins that are the worst of the worst. I'll note just from an investment perspective, Oregon City had a I would say the jump start on a lot of I&I projects that were in the queue, and so they've taken a lot of the money, or they've accepted a lot of the money. They also have the oldest system, and so the leakiest system as well, so it's really good to get those investments in the oldest system. But just from overall, we've spent about $6.8 million. Oregon City's received about $6 million of that. West Lynn just submitted their first project for funding this year. Milwaukee's got about $100,000, and Gladstone at $700,000. And so these are projects that we contribute to from design through construction, and we contribute about a third of the cost of these projects to help our communities keep their systems upgraded and to reduce the flow to our facilities. So in addition to the planned projects, the major capital projects that are identified in our CIP, we have these kind of pools of money. I call them our asset buckets. And so we have an asset bucket that really focuses on treatment plant. These are aging pumps. That's not, we just need to replace the pump. We don't need a whole system. And so we have allocated money, about $2.2 million annually, to spread across these four funds. This would be the treatment plant, the pump station, the collection system, which includes our pump stations, and then SCADA. And so the SCADA, I'll just say it's the supervisory controls automation. And so it's the brains behind the operations of the facility. So it's kind of the instruments we put down that run our plant. This year we were lucky to get a gentleman that joined our team that's very skilled in this work. And so to kind of take advantage of that in-house resource we have, we've added a small bucket of money so he can come through and start addressing these systems. Obviously, technology goes much faster than mechanical improvements, and so we might need to change out the computer before we need to change out the pump, and this will really help us manage that a little bit better. This is a slide I've shown, I updated annually to show kind of what the industry as a whole from a construction standpoint is experiencing. And you can see, you know, in 2021, we had a lot of uncertainty. There was a significant increase in costs. It's leveled out over the next 3 years, but between 24 and 25, we're starting to see that another uptick in project costs and construction costs. And so we continue to use these types of index to update the cost estimates we've got on our project, you know, on something that came out of a facility plan 4 years ago. We use these indexes to make sure we're looking at today's dollars to deliver those projects. But as you can see annually, depending on uncertainty in the marketplace, it can have a big impact that we're maybe not planning for. And so I'll just want to touch on a few market drivers that I see out there right now, and it's specifically around electrical equipment. All of our projects have a lot of electrical equipment, and with data centers and AI, a lot of the resources towards electrical procurement has gone to those mega projects. And so we've seen an increase in cost, but not only an increase in cost, an increase in time it takes to procure equipment, something from what might have taken us 30 weeks, which is a long time. We're seeing almost 80 weeks on some pieces of equipment to get our projects started. So some of the impacts, you know, that impacts cost as well as projects kind of go on a little bit. Wes has tried to do some procurement on our own to buy equipment early in the design phase so we can try to eliminate some of those long-term impacts to our project delivery. Tariffs is another one that has impacted us. Vendors don't have as much equipment on hand, and so their quotes are lasting for shorter periods of time, and they're putting in language and agreements that will allow them to come back and get more for tariffs. So it's something we're managing and navigating, particularly around the steel and equipment as two that are going to hit us the hardest in our industry holistically, not specifically West, but just the utility industry holistically. And then the current budget proposed for SR state revolving fund or funding from the federal government for loans, low interest loans to municipalities is getting reduced significantly. I think the last proposal had an 89% reduction in SRF funding availability. And so we are currently working to get some SRF loans on a project, in some part to try to get ahead of that reduction coming. But if that goes away, long term, that will could potentially have a cost impact on us just from a cost of what it takes us to borrow money. So those are just kind of three big market drivers, I would say, for our industry as a whole that I wanted to just make note of. Next slide. And so I think for the summary and our next steps, as I mentioned at the start, our 5-year CIP from the sanitary wastewater side is 237, sorry, I have those numbers transposed, 237.2 million, and the surface water is 27.4 million. We presented this CIP, a status of last year's CIP, this CIP, and to the at West Advisory Committee at the November 13th meeting receiving support. We presented to the technical advisory teams at the technical advisory team meeting in November as well. So that sharing this information with the other municipals, the technical groups, and our request for adoption by the Board of County Commissioners of our updated CIP is generally our ask. Correct?
I need to amend that a little bit. We're actually asking to bring it to a future business meeting for approval. That was a typo. We should not approve it today. We should approve it in a business meeting.
All right. Is there any questions about today's presentation then? Yes.
Yeah, I have a few. So I'll start with this. What's our average dry weather flow at Tri-Cities?
11.
11? Okay. I've been at this a long time. I was under the interpretation or the impression that by investing in a lot of the I&I work that we would never really need to do capacity improvements. Would you say 72 MGD at the pumping capacity at at Tri-Cities?
For the when we're done with our
We're
new
at
project.
30-something, and we're going to go to...
We're at 47, and it'll go to 72.
Okay. You know, for average of 11, and what's our projected dry weather flow due to growth?
I don't have that
You
number
know, you know
off
where
the
I'm
top of my
going?
head.
You know where I'm going with this? Is that as we build new, you know, it's supposed to be pretty tight. There should be no wet weather or no I&I in anything new. So my question is, why are we projecting, haven't solved as much? What metrics are we have to demonstrate that our I&I investments are actually delivering reductions in the wet weather? It just seems crazy that what was 160 in the back of my mind for wet weather flow is going to go to 72. That's a jump.
Based on the analysis that we did, well, back when Lynn was still here, it was never that we wouldn't have to build wet weather capacity. We think of capacity in three ways. There's dry weather capacity, that's purely growth. There's solids handling capacity, that's the solids piece. We've addressed those recently. We've always known that we have to build additional wet weather treatment capacity. The I&I program was to essentially have to build less, not to replace it, but to ameliorate the amount that we have to build.
So what are the metrics to guide us in, you know, what's success look like for I&I reduction?
So, well, we're only 2 years into a 5-year pilot. Jeff, Jessica was here, but maybe you can speak to that.
We've got to deliver the project and then go through a wet season with flow monitoring to determine what the change has been. And so we're in the process now of collecting the wet weather data this year. We're putting together an I&I report, which we'd be happy to share once it's put together, to basically look back at here's what we assumed back in 2019 when we did the sanitary system master plan. Here's what we measured in those basins. Here's the investments we've made, and here's where we're at today. It just takes time to get there. And I mean, I'd love to be able to tell you the great successes, and we have had definitely some measured successes in Wes's basins. We found, through this investigation, we found somewhere over in Mount Scott where there was a sewer lateral that was left uncapped at a storm basin, and so literally the whole of this development was running right into. And so, very simple, very cheap fix, right, to be able to go in and do that. But again, it takes another year of wet weather to see what those results are. And so we're in the process, to your point, Paul, to be able to validate, here's the assumption we made, and here's how our investments are paying off. A document that kind of solidifies that is in the works. It's just it takes time to get the project delivered, time to collect the data, to analyze it, and time and to then put together the reporting and share it. So I would expect in the next 6-ish months, we'll have something to share back out on how that's going and what we thought we would get versus where we're at. Water is an interesting thing. It's going to find the path of least resistance. So if you fix something here, it'll try to find other ways, but to justify our investments, that's how we're approaching it.
And I would add that, back when the collection system master plan was done, it's not a free-for-all. Right. So there was, I think, 19 sub-basins that were identified through relatively detailed flow monitoring and analysis that were the hot spots. Those were the I&I program with the city covers projects in those areas that the technical advisory team all agree will have a meaningful impact on inflow and infiltration in those critical basins.
So I'm just gonna go back on this. So Greg, you mentioned that it's only been in place for a couple of years in I&I, but the conversation and analysis has been going on a lot longer than that, because I've had these conversations with you all. So did we identify that one upstream in the North Clackamas, Happy Valley area? That one big one? You said
we found, yeah, we were doing smoke testing and saw smoke coming out of a storm basin, and we've gone in and plugged that pipe, so it's not draining to us anymore. And it's had I don't know the exact flow numbers, but it's had a measurable difference in the flow coming down that basin.
So that was the big for a while there was a big leak, we didn't know where. So that's it, and it's found and it's fixed.
Go ahead.
It's certainly one of them.
Yeah,
it's one of them.
It's an ongoing. I mean, it's hundreds of miles of pipe that we're nicking away at.
I'll just say one more thing, if that's okay, just about I&I and ongoing degradation of, it's put in new. Yes, it's tight, but
it does take long for things to start to leak. I mean, PVC pipe and the gaskets are much better, but if it's not installed greatly by developers and other things like that, that we're out investigating those things when they're getting put in so that we make sure that it's installed correctly. But there is, you know, pipe, as soon as it goes in the ground, that's the best it's ever going to be, and then it will eventually let water in. So that's just kind of the nature of it.
I have one more question, but maybe someone else wants to ask something first.
Commissioner Helm has one.
No, it's kind of more in follow-up too, is the term atmospheric river it's a relatively new term to us, right? I think in like the last 4 years. And they call it that because as these storms, we used to call them a storm, and now they're atmospheric rivers because they come through, and I heard recently that they are the equivalent of the Mississippi River, literally coming over our region, right? And it depends on how long it hangs out, whether it's moving through, like thankfully the last one did move through fairly quickly, but if it hangs out and just dumps that water for, you know, a day or two at a time, as we're seeing in other parts of the country, it's detrimental, right? But I don't think we're gonna get a handle on the I&I thing for probably a good 5 years, because that is such it's a kind of a aggregate thing, isn't it? To kind of see the difference, like one city at a time or one jurisdiction at a time?
We break it down in basins, and so we have flow meters out in different drainage basins, and so we don't need to look at Oregon City holistically. We can look at a specific basin that work's been done in to just gather the data to understand the success or failure of those projects. And so, but it does, to your point, as I've said, it takes some amount of time to get the project implemented, and then the data, you have to go through another way. If you do it in the summer, then the next winter we can start collecting data to be able to then analyze in the next dry spell. So it takes amount of time for sure.
And I would say it's kind of just intuitive at this point. I mean, the models predicted that we would have these types of what they're calling atmospheric rivers. The intensity and the intensity is greater. It's going to take a while for that to play out, to really understand what that means. But intuitively, yes, it does feel different. And it seems like we have these really, like, it was a 100-year storm event up on the mountain in our service area up there.
Well, and we don't know how much worse it's going to get, right?
Right.
This is, the unknowns.
Commissioner Schrader.
So I guess what I'm hearing here is that, is the technology keeping up with these huge climate? And that's what I'm worried about. I mean, are we building to what we're expecting to happen?
Well,
now,
yeah, so
or
the standard
what the trends are, you know?
the standard historically for, kind of when you get you design to a 1 in 5 year storm event. And even the regulations are acknowledge that is the reasonable standard. You know, anything more than that, and you're going to have overflows and things like that. But we designed, and we made a policy a few years ago to design to the 1 in 7 year storm event, to give that margin of safety, not knowing that we should, but not knowing exactly the magnitude of the changes that we're going to see.
And I'll just add, from an operational perspective, if you go too big, then you have real struggles in the 90% of the times you're operating, right, when your flows are much lower. And so that's why the IPS I mentioned is a pretty interesting one, because to Paul, it's like most days we might need 11, but on those days we need 72. How do you design a system to handle 7 times flow conditions?
So it's an engineering issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, ideally, and I could go back to the 90s and talk about the I&I conversation that happened at Tri-Cities, in CCSD 1 before West was West, right? So, I definitely have I had a lot of hope that, and a lot of comments were made and investments are made, and relative to the capital plan, I guess I have to ask myself, or ask you all, are we investing enough in I&I? And if so, what are the metrics that show for it? Or are we accommodating it and making the investments in accommodation for, weather flows? So I know you kind of covered it, but all I'm saying is that my impression all along has been that we probably have more progress by now. So I'll just say that, you don't need to respond. The other, last thing I really want to touch on, knowing that if we're going to now be saddled with maybe not as effectively addressing the I&I in a measurable way, then I have concerns about groundwater, surface water, and are we investing enough there? And from an environmental standpoint, is there going to be a point in time where there'll be either mitigation or challenges if our surface water TMDLs are going to be problematic as a result of some of the leakage in the system?
Is that a question?
Yeah, that one is.
I don't see that happen. I could talk to you offline. I guess I'm not connecting the dots.
Okay. And again, relative to the capital plan, are we investing enough in surface water?
We will know in 5 years, or well, 3 years, I suppose. It's a 5-year plan, and it's based on modeling and a detailed collection system master plan that looked at the condition of our pipes, future growth, and a projection of what our I&I is going to look like, given the investment that and recommendations on investing in it. But it was always a combination of expanding wet weather capacity and investing in the most critical parts of our collection system.
Are there any jurisdictions you're aware of that are having TMDL problems with surface water?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by TMDL problem. I mean, all of the jurisdictions that we serve deal with TMDLs, and we're in compliance, and I don't see that changing.
Right.
Yeah. The one thing I will say, the one thing that could impact us is if there's a nutrient TMDL developed for the Willamette, which, there's been rumblings. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, and that could change the level of treatment that we would need to along with everybody else in the region. But yeah.
Yeah, well, we've heard that on the Tualatin for a long time.
Right. Well, and that's why Clean Water Services has to treat to such a high level, because they already have a TMDL for nutrients on the Tualatin. So.
Wow. All right, so it sounds like we don't need a motion to vote on this today. It will come back.
If you would make a motion to put it to a business meeting, please.
Make a motion to put it into a business
To
meeting?
advance it to a business meeting.
Okay.
I move that we advance this presentation proposal to our next business meeting on Thursday.
I'll second.
Not that fast.
Not
No.
that fast? All right.
Following week.
Following week, which would be the 20th.
And I'll second that.
All right.
Point of clarification. So would that be on consent, or would we have to present it again?
Is this a public hearing? Do you need a public hearing for this?
Not that I'm aware of.
No? Let me talk to the chair offline. So we'll put it forward to a future meeting. Please don't give us a date. We'll work with you on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll go ahead and follow up on that. You still need the motion,
A
correct?
motion to advance this to a
Yeah,
future
right.
business
So
meeting.
it sounds like Commissioner Helm has moved to advance this presentation to a future business meeting, and it's been seconded by Commissioner Schrader. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask our clerk to call the poll.
Director Schrader.
Aye.
Director Helm.
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Andrew. So with that, I'll adjourn as the Water Environmental Services Board of Directors, reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners, and I want to turn to Gary. Do we have anything else you need?
That is it for the agenda. You've covered everything you needed to today.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. This concludes our business meeting for the day, and on behalf of the board, thank you all. We are officially adjourned.